Hey guys, so new technical analysis on nano dimension. Um, kind of just do a live kind of quick session on it. Um, see what a day play would look like. So if you were to do this on a day play, first thing you want to do is look at it in a larger time frame, right? So right now we're at a day time frame. You want to look at it a weekly time frame. As you can see here, this thing bounced right on the 200 MA. So the red item here, 200 MA, bounced right back and went right back down. So, and we're looking at the RSI, it's pretty high. Um, it's currently at almost 80, when as high as 84, 85-ish. So it's pretty up there as far as a weekly basis. So that would, to me, that would suggest that it would more likely go down, right? Overall. Um, so that's one thing you want to keep in mind, is that particular direction. So let's look at it on a daily time frame. We can see that there is quite an angle here happening. Right, so and the next thing is, so you want to look at what these are, but you also want to look back to the left, and see where a previous support was. So what we're looking at here is a descending triangle, right? So if you put a vertical line here and you extend this down, you would see a descending triangle. Okay? So ironically, it's touched every point of these items, so that Gann angle is what I would be looking at, as it spirals around it. So that would be the item that you would want to be able to break through. That's the trend, in order to kind of identify a entry position. So what I'm doing now is I just create another line to mimic that angle. So now I see the top portion that needs to be broken. Okay, so if you were to play this, the MACD, it's on its way down, so it's more likely gonna at some point touch the signal. Um, I mean that's the key is when, but you can tell, you're gonna be able to tell this once we start to see more the more details in the lower time frames. But we can see here that the overall direction would be going down. The same thing with the RSI. The RSI is coming down to 62, so it's getting back down to the fair levels of 50, right, in that range. One thing to note, though, is that this is an inverted hammer, right, which typically identifies as a possible of a reversal. Okay, so we've bounced on this EMA 9 on a daily basis, and we can see that there is another support resistance area right there. So we are not far from the point where, a decision has to be made by the bulls whether they're going to take this thing back up or it's going to continue down the spiral, right? And if it does, it'll probably touch this guy again. And if it does, it may touch it at this point. That's a little higher than the Let's see, is it even worth drawing here? Not really. Right here, there's possible soft support at that range right there. So actually, that might be where it bounces with this EMA, the MA21. So you gotta look for this thing to break out. So let's drill in a little more. On the 1 hour basis, we are still underneath the MACD histogram area, so that indicates still a bearish trend. The RSI is looking pretty good. So on a closer look, this is what we're seeing. And in my case, this EMA 9 bouncing on the EMA 21 is indicating that it's, it's been quite bearish. So anytime that signal crosses down, that denotes a bearish trend, right? So you can see how here it stayed above it, bounced off of it, stayed above it, and then started to taper off. And then you can see its crossover. That is sometimes preceded by the MACD. That you may want to start thinking about doing that. So yeah, it's been on a descending triangle. So tomorrow it's going to be a critical area, but you're going to want to identify that these are the major trend areas that you're going to gan angles that you're going to want to be able to break through in order to get a bullish run. And it looks like there's definitely going to be some turbulence in this area right here. So there's a range here. So that's going to be probably your first area that you're going to have to break. So my guess is it may fall down a little further here and then bounce. You may hit this and maybe take a consolidation breather for a minute, and then if it's, if the continuation goes, it goes up this way. So it'd be doing something like that. Now that's probably the best case scenario, but I can tell you that if it does go below this line, it's going to be quite a drop down. And if you remember, we were looking at on the weekly, it's pretty high. These levels are pretty high, so there's a good chance it'll drop down, or there may be a good chance it'll pop up a little bit and then drop down. But my guess is this is still going to go down. But anything can happen tomorrow because again, we're at that point where there is a decision that has to be made by the bulls. All right, so let's look at a 5-minute scale. Yeah, so it's been flatlining for most of Friday evening post market. Post market being any time after 4 up to 8 o'clock, and it ranged from like 1368 to 1394. So about 30-cent spread, somewhere around there. And RSI is pretty good. This thing is teetering on breaking through. So on a smaller scale, it looks like it will jump up. So I think it might bounce a little bit, and I think it might start heading downwards, to tell the truth, on an overall time frame. But we'll see how it goes. So let's look at the order flow. So in the last couple of days, there's actually been an order flow coming in. And then on the 29th, it was taken out. So, let's see. Last couple of days, it was coming in. My guess is that that large amount, I think there's quite a bit of an institutional buying there. Yeah. So if it was 98, outflows, they're about even. But according to this thing, looks like there's been a lot of institutional buying. So my guess is that, it may bounce back up. You're gonna have to wait. Like I said, you want to make sure that this line gets crossed, and look like it's already past it here on this scale. Let's see. Some weird Weeble scaling problems here. So on a 1 hour basis here, and it looks like it's, if it breaks that candle, it's gonna go all the way down to here, and there might be a good chance that it's, on the 1 hour scale, it's gonna bounce off this 200. Has it done it before? No, it hasn't done it before, but it has bounced on the other MAs. So, yeah, the next support would be around here. That's the mid of it. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see what falls out. How it's going to be going. But as you can see, there is you can draw a line from there to there. There is quite a bit of a indicator that it's pointing downward. And these have to be broken in order for you to see the upside. So I would watch for it to see if it breaks down, or if it decides to go horizontal and then get to the point where it's, these lines if it's going to punch up or not. You may want to consider drawing this other trend, so you can understand possible resistances that's occurring, as it tries to go through. So to me, you're going to have to receive quite a bit of volume to make it push up. But this being a very popular stock, and it has descended quite a bit down, that may happen. So let's see. Let's actually draw a Fibonacci retracement here. So there is let's make that purple. There is some areas of overlapping. We may have to tweak where it actually starts. I wonder if it starts there instead. Yep, there you go. So there is some overlap. There's a major overlap right here, and these are pretty close. So, oh no, I just moved it. That's the one thing about this stuff. It can be you can get accidentally drawn. I mean, it can be accidentally moved. Like right now, that's what I'm doing. And even though I thought I grabbed that circle. So now things are not exactly where I put them before. I think it was here. Yeah. So there, yeah, this is a new area. Was that touching? No, that wasn't touching. It's here. Why does it keep going there? Alright, so this thing's not really too cooperating right now. Or where it's gonna be. Pain in the butt. So we're gonna forget that right now. Alright, well, I guess the bottom line is you guys are gonna have to be patient. You want to see this play out. You want to see how the price action goes. Right now it's not looking too good because that is pointing downward. And usually this needs to cross this blue line, which is the MA9, and the MA21 need to cross over in order for this to start running like a bull. My guess is that it's probably going to go down. I would just wait for it and watch it. But it may pop. But I think at some point it's actually going to go down. So that's just my guess. But you have to wait and see how how this thing plays out each day. Is there any news? Yeah, so the overall market for 3D printing has been on a rally. Excuse me. So I think now Dimension was just due for a pullback. So I think there will be quite a pullback, maybe, to where I think it may continue down to here or even down to here. So if it starts to fall, guys, I'd be very patient to see maybe if it gets down to these levels, because this is where, that seems about right. If you were to do like a full Fibonacci retracement, this is like the halfway point, and I imagine that's where it may go. So I would say this is probably the golden area that you want to keep an eye on for an entry, like the best entry. And what it might do is, if it gets down to this level, it might just come down a little bit past beyond this one, because this is a little bit of a support there. It may come down past this, do a quick dip to touch this, and then go right back up. So that could be a possibility, but we'll have to wait and see how each day plays out, and prepare for that. Just have your limits already there to buy, and then have a stop loss, like around here. Okay, so again, we just have to wait and see how it reacts to this tomorrow, how it plays out. There's a lot of even things, but overall you can see that there has been heavy pressure to sell down. Sold down here. This one went all the way up that high and then get pushed down and just managed to have a sliver of green. And then the same thing here, pushed up, then went right back down, pushed up, went right back down. So Um, but this indicates that it's, there's a the pressure is lifting. You know, the consolidation is getting smaller and smaller, um, and it's coming back down to these levels. So, again, wait to see, but it has to break at least these two trend lines. Um, but it doesn't look too good right now at this point. Alright, guys, well, that's it. Sorry if I rambled. Again, please remember this is just my ideas, my thoughts about this thing. I'm not a professional financial advisor, so keep that in mind. I'm just sharing my thoughts on how I would play this. Alright, guys, take care. Have a good night. Bye.